thought this was the moon in the sky until it started getting larger and changing color. This is near the pyramids of Giza, and it was spotted on Sunday around 6 a.m. and it lasted.
Oh, looked like Cameron then came through and threw his signal in the sky.
For a total of 5 minutes. This pink orb grew to be so large that people even in Libya could see it and were taking pictures. Here, look. This is another view of the glowing pink orb in the sky. Number one, what the fuck is this? Number two, why is it near the pyramids of Giza? I have a whole theory on that, but let's keep talking about this orb. And it's not just photos that we have of this glowing pink orb exploding in the sky. The fuck?
No, that makes sense.
The orb eventually turned into a cloud of smoke or vapor, whatever you want to fucking call this. And the witnesses said that it looked like an explosion with no sound and that it had a solid white light in the middle of it. And after the 5 minutes of it just chilling in the sky, it was gone. Now, this very well could just be one of HAARP's projects in the ionosphere or one of SpaceX's launch leaving residual energy. But if you'll remember correctly, plasma bubbles were spotted over the Pyramid of Giza not too long ago as well. Are they coming back to where they started?
Like a manned drone. I don't think it's no UFO or nothing like that. Well, technically it is UFO because you don't know what it is, but it's definitely been
drones all over New Jersey. They're unidentified. The government has no explanation, but it's not just Jersey. They're everywhere. Why?
We have a serious problem with our airspace. The recent sightings of unidentified drones in the state of New Jersey, my home state, is justifiably causing tremendous public concern. We are vulnerable.
So a United States Coast Guard boat testified to you that 12 drones were following it in the water in the Atlantic Ocean. Did they tell you anything about the size, what they look like? Were they able to get images? How close were they?
He said they were the size of a car, and there's no explanation. But that's not all. Watch this right here. All
last
over.
night, 49 sightings.
These are all drones in the sky. 8, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Some people think that it's a national security threat and it's another country here to invade.
The White House not ruling out anything, not giving us any answers.
I think that it's probably a company that's about to unveil some things, and they just testing it out or whatever. Like they make some big spectacle, like they was doing some extreme movement or something like that, but they were just cruising around with lights blinking on some of the videos I seen. So clearly they was manned drones, but the question is, who do they belong to?
I saw word on the street is there's a large group of people turning themselves into demons. Now, I don't know if they was watching Hunter x Hunter, seeing the Chimera ants and said that they want to be like them when they grow up, but they real life turning into Hellboy little cousins. So tempted to do drive-bys with super soakers full of hope. Like, I'm just so convinced that they eat pig's blood with their cereal instead of milk. Like, I really want to ask you, what made you change from this into this? Looking like an outstanding citizen to now I gotta do an exorcism. Like, why would you want to walk around looking like you got attacked by an anthill? Just look at how
he going? Because they want to.
How many people then made this transformation to literally resemble a demonic entity or a reptilian? And the list continues to go on and on and on. Into Dennis, into now Lil Meow Meow. Now, somebody in the comments, please explain to me and elaborate, what did we just see?
We've seen a lot of people making choices that they want to do to their own bodies. Me, I don't necessarily agree to it, but that's what you down with, by all means.
I mean, you know, this is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, yo, could you imagine if groceries was this price today? God damn. That today, probably about 80, 90, maybe $100. I can't even tell. Actually, that looks like 2 bags in each hand and they're full, so 4 bags, that might be about 180 maybe.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy how time changed. I can remember back in the day, you can go to the store with $1. You can come out with a candy bar, a bag of chips, a soda, and you might be able to get a honey bun too. Who knows?
Yeah. Because milk is what? You saw he bought milk, right? I think milk, eggs, that right there might be, depending if you get organic or not too, right? But even still, not organic. That right there with taxes, probably already about $14. That whole shit cost them 19. I grew up in that era. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, this inflation is crazy. If you know, you know. If you were 80s baby, 90s kid, you know what it is. You're the last generation where we had some type of funds. But
what y'all think about that? Are y'all feeling out in your pockets? Because I definitely am. I went to the grocery store the other day. I probably had like maybe 3 bags worth of groceries. It ended up being like $150. I probably had like 3 or 4 meat items, maybe a bread, maybe some canned goods. Like, it's getting ridiculous out here. Like, something got to shake.
One of the craziest things about being an American is the fact that the largest living organism on Earth is actually in our country, and yet no one ever talks about it. The Malheur National Forest in Oregon is home to the largest living organism on Earth. It's called a honey fungus. It is a single organism that's over 3 miles long and over 8,000 years old. Yes, it's ancient. It is a giant mushroom, and the reason no one talks about it is because it's completely underground. Now, I want to tell you about the mycelium conspiracy theory. It's this idea that mushroom might actually be the most dominant life form on Earth, secretly controlling everything: animals, humans, ecosystems. Now, this is just a conspiracy theory, but the thing is, we know for a fact that mushrooms do control other animals. There's this species of fungi called cordyceps that literally are known to use mind control. After they infect an insect, their mushrooms begin to grow outside of the skeleton of the insect. Then they literally use mind control to direct the insect where to go, so that way they can reproduce even further. And just a few years,
If that's not creepy. So the mushroom attaches itself to this ant and directs it. Can you imagine walking around with a mushroom hanging out your neck looking like that ant? Like, that's crazy as hell.
ago, this scientific paper came out that basically said that scientists have now seen that mushrooms might actually have consciousness. The more I learn about mushrooms, the more convinced I become of their intelligence. You think one day we might find out that they're actually smarter than we are?
I don't know. Have any of y'all out there tried psilocybin? Tell me about y'all experience. I heard stories about it. Tell me if y'all been to mushroom land out there.
MIT has done it again. They have solved the ancient riddle of the megalithic stones of Peru. By using advanced software, they have calculated the precise center of gravity for these 25-ton stones. They even replicated the interlocking joints, making the Peruvian stones earthquake-proof. By using a really dense concrete on the bottom of the stones and a lighter concrete on top, these stones stand up and are easily moved by a single person. They even nailed the mortarless joints. Problem solved, on to the next. Except not really. The biggest stone at Sacsayhuaman is 200 tons, 9 faces, and not round at the bottom. It's from that quarry, so it couldn't be poured. And there's another problem. These stones are being moved on perfectly flat concrete. These stones at Ollantaytambo are a similar size and came from across a mountain. Full disclosure, I think what MIT did is amazing, and they acknowledge the ancients, which is awesome. But until you can tell me how they moved this statue 900 kilometers, after they cut it out of one of the hardest materials we use for countertops, after they quarried it without machines like ours to be perfectly carved without diamond tip drill bits, I think we have a long way to go to explain all this stuff. I put 8.
Oh no, I really think that personally, I feel like we know a lot. We can say when something was made, but we can't tell you how it's made or what they use or anything. You know, it's up for debate. Like, have this stuff been here for many years? Did they carve it out of stuff that already existed that didn't exist to that day because they used it all by carving these structures? Or did they actually move these structures from all the way over here, miles and miles away? Like, let me know what you think. Do you think that they had help doing this by some advanced civilization, or do you think they had their own technology to do this by themselves?
80 other sites just like Peru into hidden history with an interactive Google map. How they did it is the gateway drug. Why they did it is what I cannot stop learning about.
Does the government control the weather? I recently found out that I have a family member who believes this is true. Whether
is the state of the atmosphere at any given time or place. And while scientists have their own analysis of features and patterns, from a mathematical standpoint, it's chaos theory. Chaos theory is a branch of mathematics that deals with dynamical systems that are highly sensitive to initial conditions. Basically, little changes in the beginning can create vastly different outcomes at any given later point. Weather is a great example of it. Little changes in the atmosphere can have a profound effect on weather patterns. An expression you might be familiar with is a butterfly flapped its wings and a tornado formed on the other side of the planet. There is no all-encompassing equation to chaos theory, as in we solved it. If there was, we could predict almost anything to the second, decades out. The stock market on February 12th, 2092. The weather on April 1st, 10 years from now. And while it sounds like something you want to say is already happening, it would require hundreds of thousands of people with no stake in the game to keep that secret. Like janitors or admin workers with no stock in the company that is supplying these ingredients. Because from a scientific standpoint, the amount of ingredients needed is insane. This one little tornado would need a Mack truck of sodium polyacrylate, which would take up to 20 minutes to fully disperse, which is well past the average lifespan of a tornado anyway. Not to mention, it would be a lot of the same technology that could be used to terraform Mars. In fact, this is where they would have first tested it, but Mars still sucks. And if these people could control the weather, they would stop jacking up the temperature because it's costing them a bunch of money in relief funds and it's destroying.
She got some sense there, because why would Elon Musk talk about populating Mars if they didn't, do something with the atmosphere to make it habitable? Like, I don't think they got that technology to control the weather. Like, I really don't believe or understand why people even make those assumptions.
Their beachfront properties. If someone tells you the weather is controlled by the government, they don't understand what exactly would be involved with that.
The fallen angels are not what you think they are. They are actually interdimensional or higher dimensional aliens. Now, on my page, you will hear me say fallen angels and ETs because they're interchangeable, depending on what your religious belief is. But if we were to look at it from a more objective point of view, they truly are just entities of another world. Now, in the Bible, I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not Christian, but I'm paraphrasing this. They say the sons of God came onto the daughters of men, and they produced hybrid children. Now, what if I were to tell you that the sons of God are actually, interdimensional, hyperdimensional aliens with technologies beyond your imagination that came onto Earth and saw the original creation of Earth, which was supposed to be Garden of Eden, humanity, hybridize their DNA with us to create modern day humans. See, the original human beings look nothing like what we look like now. We had the capabilities of having 12-stranded DNA that was our original template. And these fallen angelics, they came down and destroyed our DNA for their own greed and for their own sense of envy. They have always envied humanity. Now, to give you a brief history as to why these aliens have been here on Earth for so long, is because throughout the millions upon billions of years of galactic history, because we did all stem from source or God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, just one singular source, we all stemmed from it. The entities who chose to break away from the original blueprint, because we all have a fraction of free will within us, they became the fallen angels. Those who defied the law of one, those who defied everything that was a part of the divine blueprint, they wanted their own dominion over their own little kingdoms. Now, humanity and Earth was one of God's or the higher God's favorite creations, and they purposefully created humans to help these fallen angels regain back their higher dimensional consciousness. But these fallen angelics, instead of choosing to see this as a way to help themselves, they chose the opposite path, which is hatred and more envy. This matrix system that is set up right now, this is all a game to them. The prophecies that you hear has been pre-planned by them. And this whole thing about, the aliens are coming out, the US government is talking about aliens, there's aliens in the water, UFO aliens, all of these things. Do you think that's by coincidence? They've always been here and they're in your blood. Literally, these aliens run through your DNA. And I know this seems so crazy to a lot of you who are not spiritually awakened. Trust me, I would have made fun of myself 5 years ago because I was a stubborn atheist. You could not tell me anything otherwise. But now that the evidence has stacked,
I wonder what she's using to keep her skin so smooth. Her skin looks so smooth, don't it?
Up, and this is staring you straight in the face. Why do almost all world religions talk about the same things? Why are people all over the world seeing more UFOs? Why are more and more people spiritually awakening? To the point where even people who used to be atheists are now questioning their own narrative. We are approaching a new dawn, in which humanity has likely only two choices. We can choose to ascend out of this and stop playing their games and reclaim our power, manifest a better timeline for ourselves, or we can fall into fear, hopelessness, despair, thinking that history is going to repeat itself again. Doesn't matter if you're spiritual or religious or agnostic. Do not let these fallen angelics win.
Groceries? Don't laugh, besties. This is a serious question. I see this post every so often that goes around on Facebook that like jokingly asks, like, if life is real, why haven't you seen your neighbors bring in groceries? And I can say, in all the years of my adult life and the couple places that I've lived, I have not seen a neighbor bring in a load of groceries.
That's weird because I never really seen my neighbors bringing groceries either. Even though I bring in groceries all the time. Like, what are these people eating air? Like, have y'all seen y'all neighbors bring in groceries? Let me know in the comments.
I know it might be different if you live somewhere where you're in houses and you have a garage. I'm assuming you would just back into the garage and take the groceries in that way. But I've lived in townhouses where you park in a parking lot and then you have to carry your stuff to the house, and I still haven't seen it. Now, I typically go to the grocery store on the same day and the same time every week. So if someone were to look out their house at that time, I would predictably be bringing in groceries. And I've made eye contact with neighbors while doing this. And maybe they just go every day or every other day, so they're only getting, you know, a couple things at a time. So when I see them with those couple bags, that is their groceries. Maybe we are in a simulation. And if we are, is it possible to like change my timeline or my plot, whatever, please?
No, take your ass to that grocery store and get them groceries.
But yeah, so have you ever seen your neighbors bringing groceries?
Cause I'll be at the grocery store every day. So I don't know how I do not see my neighbors bringing in groceries. So I can understand where she coming from. She there getting groceries every day and you see the grocery store packed, and I stay inside an apartment building. How come I never see none of my neighbors with one bag? I barely see my neighbors, and it's weird. But I like it that way though. Nice and peaceful.
Groceries?
Is it possible that some things are haunted? Yeah, some items are actually cursed or haunted. Because I just saw a story about a guy who got this thing from his mother's stuff. And he says ever since it's been in his house, things have been getting weird. Yeah, weird. Like in paranormal weird. Strange sounds, lights going on and off, a kind of a feeling that something's watching him. So hearing that, I decided to research what this thing is. And you know what? These things are common. They're called antique horse medallions, and you can basically get them anywhere, all over the internet. Yeah, if you want to buy one of these freaky things, you can find them. Now, just because they're all around doesn't mean that they're okay, and the experiences he's having are related to something else. But my question to you is, do you think items could be haunted or cursed? Because I'll tell you what, I sure do. I don't have any of my dad's old stuff, any of it, near me, anywhere.
Maybe it might be cursed. Maybe it might be haunted. But who knows? Like, they still got the Ouija boards going around. Even though I never played with one, is it still haunted or is it still cursed? Girl, let me know if objects can be haunted or cursed or have spirits attached to them in the comments.
Wait, what? New Jersey is in a state of emergency because of UFO drone sightings? What? Okay, so basically in this article, they say that these drones are mysterious and they're UAPs. They're not just like regular drones. Like, they literally can't explain where they're coming from. So it put New Jersey in a limited state of emergency. This is how they look. These are pictures. That's another. That's another. Like, oh, and here's more. So a police officer captured yet another UFO. There's so many UFOs. I wonder, I'll get to that. In Connecticut, and said it looked like plasma. For those of you that don't know, my page is all about plasma being intelligent and being a source for interdimensional communication. Let me explain. So in this article, the guy literally said that it was over his truck like this, very close encounters of the third kind vibes. And he even said it appeared to have a plasma-like quality. I love plasma. Okay, I think this was the plasma UAP, and there was a plasma UAP in New Jersey over Little Egg, and they captured it on a fucking camera, and that's what it looked like. I bet you this is plasma too. So here's the thing, interstellar travel, this came out last year. They said literally plasma engines could carry us across the solar system. So if you're a future-like entity, or if you're a higher consciousness being, you're probably already using plasma, not to only power your rocket, but as the rocket, because plasma can be a vehicle for consciousness. Is that proven yet? No, but I promise you it will be proven, and that is what I'm studying. I have a new book about it coming out.
Oh no. She talk a lot about plasma, but with that, she's on to something.
Out next year. You could sign up the link in my bio, all about plasma intelligence. So basically all of these drones and plasma-like UFOs we're seeing, it can be explained by two things. There was also a pink thing over the sky of Egypt that was really weird. This is probably the second type of plasma. So plasma is the fourth state of matter, but it has magical and metaphysical properties you might not know about. Basically, plasma can be used kind of as like clay by consciousness or a higher state of consciousness as a ship to travel with their consciousness. So a higher intelligence could probably use it for remote viewing, which is literally using the mind to sense information of a distant place. And to take it a step further, bilocation is the ability of a person or object to be in two places at the same time. So these plasmas are probably holding the higher intelligence's consciousness because they're probably trying to warn us because we're doing stupid shit here on Earth. The second type of UFO is called ball lightning. It's an effect of the atmosphere that has to do with plasma and lightning. They always talk about it. They talked about it back in the day. This has been happening since the beginning of time, and it really scared people. Think of ball lightning as not having consciousness, or a very little amount. Think of it as like a lion that could attack you, but it doesn't want to kill you. It's just hungry. These ball lightnings are not holding future consciousnesses. They're just effects of the atmosphere that do have like a sentience. They're like it's like a space lion, but it's not intelligent. So just forget about those. And then there are plasmas that can literally shapeshift that are higher dimensional plasmas. So there's astronomical plasma or the fourth state of matter. These are a higher dimensional plasma. Once again, you could click the link in my bio. I have more about this. I also have a plasma intelligence playlist. And this lets a higher consciousness bilocate or either view us, or part of their consciousness is in this little machine viewing us, which is probably why they can't like come out and touch us.
They giggle. I would say, am I out of my body? Where am I? And they just laugh. They go, and I thought, are they laughing at me? But they never saw their faces. It was like a hood over them. But I could always see their robes and the golden rope that was wrapped around them. And I knew it was gold. You could feel it. I don't know how to explain it, but you could feel everything. You could feel the textures of the clothing in a different way. So when it all happened, after that, I went into the hospital. I was out. But when they pulled the Gertie out of the ambulance and it hit the road, it jerked me back into my body. And I was back in. Now I'm in pain. I'm a total afraid because you're back into your body real strongly. And I remember as I was going down, I could see all the lights going through the hallway. They're taking me into the ER. And I thought, this is just like the hospitals that they show on TV when they're on the gutter and they're running them down. Oh, this is exactly like that. So it was just a different kind. You didn't have an understanding, but yet you had an understanding. And then my friends came in and I didn't talk to them. I just would do, with my eyes. And then I remember going in, this is what the nurses got, because I'm on the floor, I'm on the table. Now, my doctor that came in, he bent down to me and he had a pencil in his pocket and he bent down and the pen dropped. There's no way I could have seen that pen. There's no way. I was laying down. So I saw the pen, but I saw his Kohan shoes, and I used to wear Kohan shoes, and they're $300 a pair. And the first thing I asked when I woke up from that,
she said, and they $300 a pair. She had to flex on them real quick, didn't she?
I said, do I have to pay for those shoes? Because he didn't put his little booties on. And the nurse went, how do you know that? I said, I saw it. And he lost his pen, and you all didn't even pick it up. And she went, oh my gosh. You know what I told them? After I learned all this, I said, you all need to go in the ER and put some pictures or something up at the top that says, you're not in your body. Go back in your body. I said, and people will feel that. And they said, you are serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. I said, you need to tell them because you've got to get them back in the body if you're going to try to heal them because they're not going to hear words. So when nurses and doctors heard that, I had several really good friends who were nurses, and they came in and they wanted to talk to me. How do I know when they're out of body? It's not hard to tell because if you really understand it, because I've been watching it for so long, you see them float back up. And then if you put them back down, that's why they start crying. And so it hurts to go back in your body. And that all of that experience woke me up for 5 years. After that, Jesus came to me after 18 months. Now, when you say Jesus was, I was raised as a Baptist and I went back into being a Catholic because my father died when I was 16, watching him die from the age of 11. So I have a lot of experience about death as a child. And this is why I was told that was why I had to go over.
True tree of life is known as the crystal lotus flower of life, also known as the Ruach God seed. It is the universe eternal consciousness. This is how the true flower of life looks like because energy is all coming back into the center. Meanwhile, this is the false flower of life that many of us, including spiritual people, have been using. It is known as Metatron's cube, crystal lotus flower of life. All the lines and points are all connected. Imagine as if you're drawing in one continuous line, while the Metatronic flower of death or the false flower of life, you are picking up your pencil as you draw. It is also how you can connect with your Katara grid. It is the science of source. If you understand the difference between those two charts, then you know that source is always continuous, energy is continuous, and that is where all life's creation evolves and continues to be a part of this consciousness that we all exist within. The crystal lotus flower of life, it connects you back to the crystal's blueprint. That is where we connect and we are a part of the Christ within. Everyone here is connected to God. We are essentially all God. There's so much to learn about our universes because we're made of mathematical symbols. There's so much geometry, sacred geometry involved. And if you look at the source spiral number sequence, which is the true tree of life, the eternal crystal lotus, whatever you want to call, it all adds up to energy coming back into the center. This is also known as the eternal lotus of wisdom because everything is back into your heart center, into the source of all energy, the source of creation. Meanwhile, the false flower of life, also known as a Metatron's cube, it's blocking away your energy, or I should say it's taking away your energy. If you add up each of these numbers, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, it's kind of like depleting your energy or it's consuming the next energy, and that's not what we want. That is not what the true representation of the flower of life, Christ consciousness is all about. You're essentially giving up your own energy. Think about the Metatron's cube if you haven't realized it, and I also had previous video about this too, which I referenced that the Metatron's cube can be seen as a Saturn worship. You bring energy back to the center, to source. That is where you expand your heart. Your heart, think of the toroidal field expanded to all over your body, the Katara grid, from the planetary and the physical Katara grids that we all have as a morphogenetic field. Are you still being sucked into the matrix that you are living out of alignment? You are not focusing or manifesting your desired life. If so, then you are living in the false tree of life. Your energy is being depleted. You're basically giving your energy to things that are not in alignment for your highest good. If you are aware of your reality, if you are conscious about the things that you're doing, you're healing in your own journey, then you are definitely getting back into source, getting back into the heart center of connecting with the eternal life consciousness.
Hey man, meditation, man. I meditate from time to time. You got to get grounded, man. You got to be one. Find your peace, because life can be hectic out here every day, waking up, going to work, working 10 hours plus. Some had to come home to kids or wherever the case may be, man. You just got to find yourself and just find a time to just sit back, relax, reflect on things that you appreciate instead of the negative things, and everything will be all right.